Looks like the clock is striking midnight on this whole culture thing, huh? Looks like the whole culture thing. The clock is striking midnight because the Texans are now 1-5. Where's the culture at now? What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're gonna talk some football. Houston Texans football. The Houston Texans fall to the Indianapolis Colts, 31-3. And they have now fallen 5 straight games. They're now 1-5 after losing 5 in a row. And like I said, the whole culture thing looks like it's a wrap. I mean, you got Brandon Cooks and Jonathan Gennard calling out people during the press conference. You got Lyon Johnson tweeting at John McClain, calling him KFC eating mug. like it's just the whole thing. It released Whitney Merciless today. Just not to mention after Davis Mills had an amazing game a week ago, has fell back to earth again this week against the Indianapolis Colts, a divisional game, and just. This whole thing is starting to fall off the rails now, and they're really starting to look like one of the worst teams in the NFL. I know Detroit has a worse record. I know they're 0-6. I know it took Jacksonville a while. They finally got a win. We blew out Jacksonville week 1, but all the things surrounding about this team, and that's not even including the whole Deshaun Watson situation, the Jack Easterby stuff. Just the way this team is being structured is an absolute dumpster fire. And they are operating like the worst team in the NFL. But let's talk about the game. Let's break down the game. Like I said, the Houston Texans fall to the Indianapolis Colts, 31-3. Davis Mills was 29 of 43 with a completion percentage of 67.4, 243 yards, only averaging 5.7 yards per attempt. Had 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, should have been more, but 2 interceptions. Was sacked twice with a quarterback rating of 62.5. Mark Ingram had 18 rushes for 73 yards, averaging 4.1 yards per attempt with a long of 24. Actually, I think that might be his best game, even though I know he had more yards in the first game. But he just looked like he was a stronger runner against Indianapolis early on. Philip Lindsay had 7 carries for 49 yards, averaging 5.6 yards per attempt, really because he had that 135-yarder, and that was it. And like he had 135-yarder, and then he only averaged 4 yards off of the other 5 attempts. Just bad. Brandon Cooks targeted 13 times, had 9 catches for 89 yards, averaging 9.9 yards per catch. Nico Collins was targeted 6 times, caught 4 catches for 44 yards. Jordan Akins targeted 6 times for 4 catches for 41 yards. Philip Lindsay targeted twice for 2 catches for 15 yards. And on the Indianapolis Colts side, Carson Wentz was 11-20 with 55%, 223 yards, averaging 11.2 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, sacked twice with a quarterback rating of 127.7. Jonathan Taylor had 14 rushes for 145 yards, averaging 10.4 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns with a long of 83 yards. T.Y. Hilton targeted 4 times for 4 catches for 80 yards with averaging 20 yards per catch. You already know how T.Y. does against the Houston Texans. You know, he ended up leaving the game later on, but we know how T.Y. plays. I think that was his first game of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Paris Campbell targeted 1 catch for 51 yards, had 1 catch for 51 yards and a touchdown. Michael Pittman targeted 3 times, had 2 catches for 35 yards. The Colts really, I'm being honest with you, to be honest, the defense didn't really play a bad game. I know Jonathan Gennard had sacks. Jonathan Gennard, that's part of the reason why I think they let go of Whitney Merciless, to get Jonathan Gennard a little bit more time, because I think that he's probably one of our best pass rushers, if not the best pass rusher, the way the team is being constructed right now. The defense really didn't play all that bad. It was just that they let big plays. You had the 2 50-yard bombs, and then you had the 83-yard run from Jonathan Taylor. That's what really hurt the defense. Now, not to mention, I'm not going to say defense just played good, but they didn't play as bad as a 31-3 score indicates. Really, the Colts had big plays. If you get rid of those big plays, I think the game is a little bit closer than that. But that's neither here nor there. The obvious thing is the Texans are not able to score points. They're not. They have been outscored in their last 2 road games, 71-3, because they lost 40-0 to Buffalo. And then this game against the Indianapolis Colts, they lose 31-3. They're not able to produce points at all. They're not able to produce points. They were able to produce points against the Patriots. They were scoring at will against the Patriots in the first half. It seems like from the second half on, from that, it seemed like from the second half on, from that game to in all this game, and also the game against Buffalo, and for the most part, the game against Carolina, that they really don't have an offense. What's the common denominator? Really, ever since Tyrod went down against Cleveland, it's been a struggle offensively. Now, again, I think the reason why they were able to score some points against the Patriots, I think they caught the Patriots off guard. I think they caught Bill Belichick off guard, and they were able to use the run game. They were able to run. Now, I ain't gonna lie, that first drive against the Patriots was probably, like I said, the numbers don't lie. It's the longest drive since 2011. So it's one of the best drives that we've had in the last 10 years. Like that since Cashapp, Andre Johnson, Arian Foster with that offensive line. That's the last time we've had a drive that execute that well at any point of the game, beginning of the game, middle of the game, end of the game, whatever. Even though we've had Deshaun Watson and Hopkins and Fuller and all these other things, that's the best it's been since the Cashapp, Andre Johnson era. And I give you credit for that. And I think they really caught the Patriots off guard last week. I think this is more so what we see. This is more so this is more so what we get. It's a struggle offensively. Now also to Davis Mills' credit, he doesn't have that many weapons. The offensive line, I think we only had 2 offensive linemen. Yes, and the offensive line did not play well, obviously, because you were missing 3 offensive linemen. They're not really able to run football, even though I think this was Mark Ingram's best game so far. They can't run the football. David Johnson is David Johnson. Philip Lindsay, unless he's running to the outside, unless he gets tosses and sweeps in encounters and things like that, he is not a good running back up the middle. He cannot run the football up the middle. We can't run the football really at all. I think that's more so a lack of run blocking, obviously, but also I think there's more of a lack of running game talent. We don't have any talent in running backs. We really don't. We just don't have it. I want to see what we have in Scotty Phillips. I want to see what Scotty Phillips can do. But then again, a part of me I don't want to see Scotty Phillips play against with this offensive line. I don't. I really don't. Nico showed some things. I like what I seen out of Nico yesterday. Nico played well. I think Nico can be, at very least, a serviceable receiver. I'm not saying he's going to be the number one or the best number 2 in the NFL. I think he's going to be a serviceable receiver when you finally get your franchise quarterback and you get other receivers around you. I do think you're going to end up being the number 1 receiver. I do think that, because I don't think Brandon Cooks is the number 1 receiver. Said that last year when everybody was talking about Brandon Cooks number 1 receiver with Will Fuller. No, he wasn't. And as you've seen with Deshaun Watson was playing, when Will Fuller was on the field, Fuller was the go-to guy. It was not Brandon Cooks. Now, don't get me wrong. Brandon Cooks can put up numbers. He can put up yards because he's fast. He's a speed receiver. He can get chunk plays. But at the same time, I don't think he's a number 1 receiver. And so you're basically playing with Brandon Cooks right now. Brandon Cooks and Larry Tunsil are the 2 most talented people on this team, by far. Larry Tunsil is top 5 of his position. Brandon Cooks is not. And then it just goes down here from the rest of that because of this whole culture thing you want to fit. I mean, we about to go up against Arizona where you play up against JJ and Hopkins, and that's really where everything started going off the rails. In my opinion, the second best quarterback in the league is at home and doesn't want to play for you, and you don't want him to play either for your franchise. It's just at one point in time we had talent. At one point in time, this franchise had talent. Just as of 2-3 years ago, we had a lot of talent. And right now, we're scratching, don't know what type of talent we have because we don't have any. And we're obviously tanking. Like I said, embrace the tank. I'm for that. I think we're going to be tanking for the next 2 years. That's why none of these losses affect me. They really don't. None of these losses affect me at one bit. Not at all. I'm not mad that we're losing football games because I already know what it is. The fan in me wants the Texans to win, obviously. But I know what's going on. I know what they're doing. It sucks. It's trash. And it's sickening. But I know what they're doing. And they don't have any talent. And it's like my emotion that was wrapped up with the team got evaporated back in March, back in May, back in April, back in February, back in January, when all this first started with Deshaun Watson, in the year prior, when all this started with Hopkins. Like, we're basically right now, what we're dealing with a hangover from Bill O'Brien. We're dealing from a hangover from the Bill O'Brien, Jack Easterby era. And we're still in this hangover. We're still throwing up. We're still throwing up. Our head's still ringing. The liquor's still in our system. We're still hungover. And we're going to be completely hungover, I think, for the next 2 years. Until we throw all of it up. And that means get rid of Jack, Culley. Like I said, I think Culley and Davis Mills are the same person. And what I mean by that, I think they're the person who's here to take the beating. Culley is here to take the beating. I'm not gonna get, even though I think Culley's the reason why the Texans lost, the main reason why the Texans lost against the Patriots. I'm not gonna bash Culley because I know the position Culley's in. Culley took this job basically to answer questions about Deshaun Watson, so Nick and Jack wouldn't have to answer questions about Deshaun Watson. To go out there and throw that positivity out there, and we're gonna play football, and that's all he's here for. In the moment that they start building this team, like start getting draft equity, start building this team the way you want to build this team, he's out the door because he's not the coach that they want. He's just a filler. I feel the same way about Davis Mills. Davis Mills is a guy they dropped in here like, hey, here, you and Tyrod Taylor are going to be ones who take the beating, who are going to throw the picks, who are going to get the sacks, who's going to do all this. So while we lose football games until we draft our franchise quarterback or we trade for our franchise quarterback, whatever how it is, they're going to end up getting a franchise quarterback in the building. That's what they're here for. The only reason why I call out Davis Mills on the stuff I call out Davis Mills on is because a lot of people out there want to say, he's the next Tom Brady. He's the franchise quarterback. No, he's not. He's not part of the plan. Now, don't get me wrong. If he has a whole like we have what we're 1-5, so 6 games, so it's 11 games left in the season. Out of the next 11 games, if he has 10 more games like the Patriots game, then all bets off. He's the franchise guy. He at least earns a look to be the franchise guy if he has 10 more Patriot games of this season. Absolutely. Now, I'm not going to sit up and say that, but I don't think they expect that. One, because he doesn't have the talent to duplicate that. I think that was an anomaly. I think that was just a one-off situation. If you notice, it was only really in the first half. I think it was just a one-off situation. I don't think it's something that's going to be duplicated. I really don't. Brock Osweiler had great games. He had a great game here and there. Like people have had, I mean, Fitzpatrick had a game we threw 6 touchdowns. It's still a franchise record for the most touchdowns in the game. Not by Matt Schaub, not by Deshaun Watson. It's by Ryan Fitzpatrick. So players are able to have good games. I'm not saying that. If he duplicates that, that's another thing. But I don't think it's something he's going to duplicate. And I don't think the franchise themselves think there's going to be something he can duplicate. I think that what they're going to do is they're going to use him, like I say, to take the beating this year, potentially next year, depending on where they fall in the draft, and if they like any of these guys like a Malik Willis or Matt Corral or Desmond Ridder and things like that, because obviously Spencer Rattler's falling off the face of the planet. Same thing with Sam Howell. I think these guys have fallen off and they're not going to be drafted in the first round. Spencer Rattler more than likely is going to be like this transfer and go back to college, have to go to another school to try to raise his draft stock up to be a second-round pick the way he fell off and got benched 2 weeks ago. A week ago against UT. So that's the situation at the end. I think that Davis Mills is here to take the beating this year, and maybe possibly potentially take the beating next year until they bring in a franchise quarterback. That's what these guys are here for. It's like a 2-year, 1.5 to 2.5 year plan between Davis Mills and also David Culley. That's what it is, and that's why this season I had low expectations coming into the season. If I'm not mistaken, I only predict the Texans to win 3 games. Right now they're 1-5. I see possibly 2 more games win this season if they lucky. And I think maybe because they probably catch somebody off guard. That's really my thing. Like I said, David Mills really didn't play a good game yesterday. He didn't play a bad game. It wasn't Buffalo-esque. To me, this game kind of reminded me a little bit more of the Carolina game. They just weren't able to get points, like I said, and he threw 2 picks. He actually threw 3 because they 1 pick that they called and then called back, said he dropped it. That was a pick. Come on now. That was a pick. But it is what it is. They called it back. But I mean, the last pick he had, it was a dumb decision because even if he threw it late. He threw it late and he short-armed it. But then even if he threw it on time and he threw it over time and threw it over the receiver, it probably still was a pick because the safety was running, beelining from this. So I'm assuming that's the reason why he kind of threw it. He kind of short-armed it a little bit because he knew if he would have overthrew it, it would have been a pick that way. So he kind of short-armed it, but I guess he didn't see he didn't see the man dropping back in coverage. It was just a bad decision, just like the same thing with Darius Leonard. It was just a bad decision. He made bad decisions. Like I say, the Texans defense, outside of really Jonathan Gennard, who I think is coming onto his own. I think that's part of the reason why they let go of Whitney Merciless. Is to get Jonathan Gennard more time. I think Jonathan Gennard needs to start. I think he needs more time because I think he's a guy who can produce from the pass rush situation. But then again, something tells me I don't think they want these guys to produce because I think they want to tank. And the thing about tanking, especially in basketball, when teams tank in basketball, they let their young players play, they let their G League players play, things of that nature. We're taking weird because we're taking with old guys. Like we're getting old guys on 1-year contracts and tanking instead of actually letting people like Scottie Phillips and Davis Mills and Nico and we cut Anthony Miller last week, letting those type of guys play. To see maybe if you could spark some against them. Because I actually like what Anthony Miller could have brought to the table. And I thought that he would have been him and Nico would have been good and decent for whoever you bring in a new quarterback, but it is what it is. These guys, they out here getting Rex Burkhead and Damian Amendola, and even though Damian Amendola hasn't been playing, but Mark Ingram and Phillip Lindsay and David Johnson, they getting all these old guys and playing all these old guys. And to me, I think what they're trying to do is they're out here trying to give the facade, the image that they're at least competing, that they're trying to win. That's why I think the Patriot game last week was the perfect scenario for them. They put up 22 points. They battled. They was in the game. They dominated the game for the most part. They was up 22-9, and they look good. They look competitive. Davis Mills throw 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. It's good. No turnovers. But yet they still lose, and they improve their draft stock. That's the best case scenario for the Texans, was to lose but improve the draft, but look good by losing, not look inept and losing. Because right now they just look bad. They look absolute bad. Absolute bad. It's a dumpster fire. They look absolutely bad. They look terrible. They look like Keystone Cops. They just running over each other, hitting. They just look stupid. They look dumb. And this is the culture that you want to build. This is the so-called culture that, we got to get rid of Hopkins, and we got to get rid of JJ, and we got to get rid of Clown, and we got to get rid of Honey Badger. We let these guys walk. We let Kareem walk. And, we alienate our franchise quarterback. This is the type of stuff that y'all do. Like seriously, square business. This is the culture that you want. You're fucking 1-5. Like you're 1-5. That's it. You're 1-5. Congratulations. You're 1-5. I know that's what you want because you want the draft stock. Now, don't get me wrong. I want the top pick too. Because I already know what this team looks like going forward. We have to get draft capital. We have to get draft capital for Deshaun Watson. We have to get high draft pick. We got to start putting talent into this team because this team is devoid of talent. Absolutely is. I agree with that. But at the same time, though, it's like you're so invested in this team. I do videos. Shout out to everybody there in South Sports. Honcho does live streams. We get on the Discord every day talking about this stupid-ass team. We watch every Sunday about this stupid-ass team. And they don't show you anything for it. What have they given us? Seriously, answer this. What has this team actually done for the city of Houston? For the fans who buy jerseys and merchandise? Who watch every Sunday religiously? Game after game after game after game after game. No matter if they lose 40-0, they win a hard fight overtime game 24-20. If they blow somebody out 35-13, we watch them every single week. What have they given us in return? Nothing but being a fucking almost team. That's all they is. Almost get your damn hopes up. That's what they do. They start off the season like that. Almost. The Texans look good. I know it's Jacksonville, but they dominated. Newsflash. We beat Jacksonville twice last year, and we only won 4 games. 2 of them against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not good. Embrace the tank, y'all. Embrace the tank. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Comment below if you haven't. Click that bell, get more videos. I'll holla.